It's another win, another game, another day in the books for Maresca's Chelsea Football Club as we have registered a 2-1 victory over West London rivals Brentford for the first time in the better part of 78 years in the league at home against this team. And Mbeumo still managed to score despite all our hard work. And by Jove, it was a hard-fought win. We're going to go through the player ratings. By all means, please do like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 o'clock. Goals from Cucurella, who also ended up getting a red card after the fact, and a goal for Jackson were the difference makers for Mbeumo's goal in the 90th minute. As Chelsea now sit very, very prettily, very nicely in second place. It almost feels like I'm making this as a bit of a parody. If you were to ask me this 2-3 years ago, would I be making a video about Chelsea coming into the Christmas period where Chelsea are in second place and with we will have played 2 games more than Liverpool, but before Liverpool play Tottenham on Sunday, if we beat Everton for a split second at least, we will be top of the league. But that is in a week's time from now or 6 days from the recording of this video. So before then, let's get through the player ratings for this game against Brentford. And as always, let me zoom out so you can see my my mush. And excuse me. Let's get into things, shall we? It might have to be a bit all over the place because, honestly, I think I'm going to start back to front. And so with that, I'm going to start with Nicholas Jackson. Listen, I don't think anyone had a bad game today or in this game. I think people were off the mark more than others. Or not more than others, but certainly in comparison to what we are recently expecting from them. Nicholas Jackson, no different. Obviously, didn't do too well in his eyes and in the eyes of others in the game against Tottenham. In this game, it was another one of those ones where it's a bit hit and miss. You could see the frustration, but you could see that he was being influential in this game in the way that it went. Now, had he not scored, would he be getting the plaudits he would be getting that he is now? Obviously not. That's clear as day. Like, he had to have scored that goal. It was an absolutely fantastic goal, a really well taken goal, but it was a clinical finish. Something that people have said that, Jackson, it's a quality that he doesn't possess. Whereas if you watch him week in, week out, you'll know he does possess that. There's a reason he is now the player with the most non-penalty goals since the beginning of last season. More than Haaland, more than Mohamed Salah, more than Havertz. So it's no question now that this player, much like Palmer, that I was giving this sort of comparison to Palmer, is that even when Palmer isn't playing well, that's Palmer not playing well to his own standard, not to the standards of other players around him. This is like Palmer's another breed. And comparing his average is like many players' best. When he's not on the ball, when he's not playing to his strengths, chances are he's still getting an assist or a goal. Nicholas Jackson, in this game, he had bright moments, but the goal, seemingly the last kick, in fact, it was the last kick of his game, was an absolutely huge moment in his season. It was a huge moment in our season because the goal was so important it makes it even sweeter that he was there to score it and scored it in the fashion that he did. I'm giving him, straight off the bat, an 8. Had he not scored that goal, we'd probably be talking a completely different number. However, the fact of the matter is, he put it away. It was an important goal. It will be one of those goals that we look back on later on in the season and think, fucking thank God Nicholas Jackson scored that. And we can rely on him more and more these days to score and put these types of efforts in the back of the net. You know? It was a fantastic ball from Enzo to play him through. And there might have been shadows of doubt whether or not he was going to put it in the back of the net, but he did in triumphant fashion. And good for him, you know, just to keep it going, keep his season going, and to continue to shut people up. You know, he's now scored 9 goals this season. He's 4 goals behind top scorer in Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland. He's 2 goals behind Cole Palmer. He's having a fantastic season. 9 goals, 3 assists. A goal every 0.68. So every 70 minutes he's scoring. He's got one of the best shot accuracies in the league. What more do you want? You know? What more do you want? Moving into, who we were just talking about. We'll get through Cole Palmer. I'm going to go with a 7.5. I need to make these a little bit smaller because they are absolutely gigantic. We'll go with, like I say, an 8 for Jackson, a 7.5 for Cole Palmer. But that, again, is no mean feat. Again, I want to preface that let's go through the ranking scale. 7.5 is a fucking good performance, whether you like it or not. You know, not everyone's going to get a 9 or a 10 in this game. I don't think anyone does, to be fair. But a 7.5, I believe, all round. I think maybe I'm thinking. Sorry, this is the thing. It's these are just preliminary, but I'm going to go 7, and I'm going to go with a 7.5. It could be an 8 for Madueke. It could be an 8 for Madueke. The thing is, Sancho was creating great chances, one of which, if I'm not mistaken, Jackson skied. But if that assist had been pulled off, it would have been easily an 8 for Sancho. I just think more so, like I've been saying this season, he needs to shoot more. He was just tying himself in knots at times, you know. There was a clear-cut chance. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure someone corrected me yesterday in the match review after the game and said that it was Sancho that could have played Palmer in. He was in, and instead decided to dink it over into the box or onto the edge of the box, and it just didn't amount to anything. Whereas Palmer was through. Palmer was clean through, and I'm really confused as to why it's just the decision-making for me from Sancho that's the only thing he needs to work on. Because we've seen the shooting's perfect. It's really, really good. I was going to say perfect, but we've only seen him really shoot from distance once. And it went in, you know? So just shoot more. I'm begging you just to shoot more. I could be persuaded with a 7.5 for Sancho, but I am going to go... I think with a 7, just looking at his stats, you know, 48 and 87%. You know what? I'm in a good mood because of the results. Fantastic. So I am going to go with a 7.5 for the 3 behind Jackson. And a lot of people are going to probably look at that and think, how in the Christ are they 7.5, but then Jackson's an 8? And it's purely down to the fact that it was a clincher of a goal, an absolutely massive goal in this season. Make no mistake about it. Had he not scored and had come off, there's every chance he would have got like a 6.5 or a 7, you know. But the goals make the difference, you know. The goals make the difference. And a player that made a difference in this game, as he always tends to do, is Moises Caicedo, and I mean, it's an 8.5. It's an 8.5 for Caicedo. He just continues to be. And now listen. I don't want to start, blowing too much smoke and all that sort of thing. But I've seen people tweet. I've seen someone tweet earlier today that Moises Caicedo may already be a better player than Kante ever was. And I said this in the moment. I was like, if recency bias was a tweet, this would be it. Don't disrespect Kante in that fashion. Praise to Caicedo. He is absolutely fantastic and does have all the makings to be one of the best in his position ever. If he could, but it's so early days to be already claiming that Kante is a lesser player than Moises Caicedo, regardless of how good Moises Caicedo is. There's no point in comparing this early. There's no point in comparing one of our all-time greats with someone who's only just started. I think Caicedo is absolutely fantastic, and I truly think out of the two, the fee that we paid for Caicedo is going to pay off more than Enzo. But moving on to Enzo, he's just playing his absolute heart out at the moment. Brilliant pass from him. And again, I will say that the 8 for this, people will probably say 7.5, maybe even a 7. But for me, I think he lost the ball quite a few times, if I'm not mistaken. 87% pass accuracy. Tackles 1 out of 3. Interceptions 1. What is it? Jules lost 8. Jules won 3. Where is it? Fouls committed. Where is it? Dispossessed? I need to see. Dispossessed only once. Corners weren't great, but the fact of the matter is, much like Jackson's rating, this is someone who is doing this week in, week out now. And listen to me, if you've watched me long enough, you'll know I did not rate Enzo so far up until this point, but now he started putting in performance after performance after performance, and he's starting to now look very, very good. There is no denying that he is, at the moment, a very good player. Was I critical of him in the past? Absolutely. I couldn't give a bollocks what you say. He wasn't good enough. It was as clear as that. He just was not good enough. And for whatever reason, he's there. He's hot as you like, and he's doing everything he needs. I think that's 10 goal contributions in the last 7 games. It's absolutely phenomenal from Enzo Fernandez. So an 8 for him. Might have just inflated that a little bit just because it's yet another great performance from him on the back of another one and another one and another one. Over and over again, we're seeing regular good performances and impact from Enzo Fernandez and Jackson alike. Moving on into the defence, as I said, we've obviously done this a little bit back to front, but I wanted to start in attack because we're going back into uncharted territories, might I say, because I'm unsure where I'm going with this. I'm unsure whether I think it's going to be a tie, but if you're picking up what I'm putting down, I'd be worried too, because I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd see the day. I think I've given him man of the match before, but we'll get to that in just a second. Malo Gusto, I think it's becoming more and more just good performances, regularly good performances. I think really good crosses at times, really good passing. We're starting to see, Malo Gusto who is less into making mistakes or he's making mistakes a lot less, should I say, or making the wrong pass a lot less. Like 93% accuracy with his passes yesterday. 66 passes completed out of 71. That's got to be a league high for him this season. So I'm going to go with a 7 for him. I think the defense, I'm racking my brain because realistically, it was mostly Tosin who was the furthest back for the majority of the game. Colwill, I'm going to mix these up because they did actually end up doing that. Obviously, Colwill was doing a lot of this, and it wasn't inverting by any means, but he was doing a lot of inward crosses, which the balls are good, but sometimes they're just a little bit too telegraphed. And I think Brentford started to really kind of just, as soon as Colwill got the ball, they were like, well, we know where this is going. You know, we know what this is going to do. So I think they grasped that quite quickly. Tosin being left as the last man, obviously, didn't end up too good for us. I do kind of need to see the goal again. Yeah, so I've just looked at it back, and it was a complete defensive disaster class from the two of them. I'm going to play it back as I explain it. So it's Caicedo. It was Caicedo and Cucurella chasing back. The highlights I've got, they don't necessarily show exactly who lost the ball. It's hard to say. Colwill is just fully aware that Mbeumo is behind him, making the run around the side. Makes no attempt for the ball. And then Tosin obviously has to dive in. So I'll rewind it again. Tosin, he's tracking back, can clearly see Colwill is completely overrun for pace and tries to make the last-ditch tackle. And Mbeumo comes through. It's shocking defending from start to finish in that sequence. I don't know. I really don't know how else to word it other than... Sure, I'm probably forgetting if they had a good... I'm going to give them both a 6.5. I think it's, again, can't get a clean sheet. I did like Colwill's crosses, but again, like I say, it was very sort of predictable after a while. And I just think Colwill just caught out of position again, you know? I know I'm probably forgetting some really crucial moments, but I'm just saying it's not even necessarily Toss's fault. But then again, he should have telegraphed the fact that Colwill was completely overrun for pace in that sequence. Could he have done more? Probably not. He tried to take Mbeumo out completely, and that's it really. But yeah, defensively is where we are going to get caught caught short this season, and a big miss for the game against Everton is, of course, going to be Marc Cucurella, who, again, is stealing the headlines in this sort of instance. A goal, a fantastic goal at that. Great cross, and great finish. Was it fucking... Who was it? Madueke with the cross, wasn't it? Absolutely fantastic. And just such great positioning, great header, and just seeing like fan footage of him tracking back like off the ball and giving Visa an absolute nightmare on the side, and it was just typical shithouse Cucurella from start to finish. And listen, he got made to pay because apparently. Being a little bit too aggressive got him the second yellow card after the match, but you know it's only a one game ban. We've got Renato Vega. Should we need a replacement, or we will need a replacement in that game, but he's just causing nuisance after nuisance, isn't he? And I think I'm gonna give him a 7.5 just purely because alone. How much of an impact this player has on the team, on the games that he plays in at the moment. And yes, he got sent off. Yes, he can be a bit stupid at times, but I will say there was one moment where I thought he was going to get sent off anyway because of the two-footed tackle, or what appeared to be a two-footed tackle. It was really frustrating, and I lost my rag at him in the moment, as I tend to quite easily with Cucurella. Love him to death, don't get me wrong, he's one of my favourite players, but it's very much a love-hate because he just gets on my tits, something rotten. Speaking of getting on my tits, Robert Sanchez, he had one slip of the ball went under his foot and nearly went in the back of the net, but apart from that, you would argue that he kept us in the game on several occasions, made some absolutely fantastic saves in this game. And I'm going to surprise a lot of people here because I think it's time to give the man his flowers. When he plays well, he plays really fucking well. And I thought he was really, really good in this game. I'm sure people will nitpick at a certain few things here and there, but I think for the most part, he was absolutely phenomenal. And that's really hard to say because I do find him incredibly frustrating and a detriment to the team at times, in costing us goals and just making our lives a lot harder than it needs to be. But in this game, he absolutely didn't, and he was fantastic, I thought. So it's a joint man of the match for me, between Caicedo and Robert Sanchez. But you know what? I'm going to give it to Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez, my man of the match. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Yeah. What are your ratings? I'm sure you'll criticize mine, as you always do, but there we go. Robert Sanchez, was he your man of the match? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Until next time, there will be a preview out on Wednesday ahead of our last game in the group stages of the Conference League against Shamrock Rovers on Thursday, 8 p.m. kickoff. I'll be live at 7:30 p.m. for that stream. I look forward to seeing you there. And then, of course, Friday, I won't be doing a play ratings for the Shamrock Rovers game. I will be doing a preview ahead of our game, huge game, against Everton at Goodison Park, of which I will be live half an hour before that. And should we win, I will be doing a hate-along, watch-along, whatever you want to call it, for Tottenham versus Liverpool, which has huge implications after, if we win, as to where or whether or not Liverpool overtake us at the top once again. But that's, again, all depending on if Chelsea can beat Everton. With that said, thank you so much for watching. It's 10 o'clock. My name is Harry. Up the Chelsea. And peace.